Tommy Tuberville, who I know from being a coach at Auburn. Wasn't he the Auburn head coach for all those years with Cam Newton years and whatever? Turned senator. He's actually saying something that I've said on the James show, and I'm scared to say things like this because I don't want to run off people. I don't like saying unpopular opinions because look, I'm a radio show host. I need as many people listening as possible. I need as big of an audience as possible. I need you to either like me or find my show so compelling that you'll listen to it even if you don't like me. And I've struggled with this one because a lot of people give me pushback when I say we have to get rid of Social Security. We have to at least privatize it. But let's listen to what Tommy Tuberville, a guy who's actually in the Senate, what he said this week about Social Security.
This is all a scam. I mean, we got people that's getting ready to retire that's going to try to live off $2,000 to $3,000. Impossible. It's impossible. Because what happens, it comes up here, we spend it. We're $35 trillion in debt. We don't have any money. We're dead broke. And then taxpayers have $2 trillion in credit card debt. We are in huge trouble. In this body, we had better start figuring that out because we're going to have a run on this city here soon, and there's going to be about 150 million people coming up here saying, where's our damn money that we paid in? I could have put my Social Security money 40 years in tax in the market and probably be worth 8 to 10 million today. But the federal government wasted it.
Okay, so a lot to unpack there. And let's talk about the math here. The reports from Social Security themselves tell you that they can pay full benefits up until the year 2033. I didn't know it was that close. I know every year they have to redo the numbers, and every year it scoots up a little bit, and it's down to within a decade now. Can we have an adult conversation about it now? Because I know when I started off in talk radio, it wasn't a hot, heavy topic because the numbers were going in the wrong way, but we still had this big trust fund to spend down, and it wasn't going to click until 2050 anyway. Well, yeah, now that since it's gone from being 50 years in the future to now 9 years in the future, and don't worry, it's going to scoot up when they do the report next year and the year after that and the year after that. So I'm guessing we may have our last full comfortable year of Social Security being maybe 2028, 2029. So by the end of the decade, we're not going to be able to pay out full benefits because it's just the way this thing is going. And there are so many reasons for this, but it doesn't matter. It's a defined benefit plan, not a defined contribution plan. And the same reason these have been dropped like wildfire in the private sector is because they are mathematically unsustainable. They're impossible. You cannot pay someone a benefit based on a calculation and then just hope that the underlying assets don't ever get overrun. It's been shown that every time they will. And the only way to stop that is to privatize it. Don't be scared. England did it back in the day. In fact, most of these first world European Western democracies, big chunk of them have privatized Social Security. Seems to work out pretty well for them. I believe like some of the Scandinavian countries even have privatized Social Security. I know England does. And it works out. It's not that much different in the fact that there's a chunk that's forced to come out of your check, but it really does go into an account with your name on it. And it really does go into a bank that gives you interest on it. And then whenever you retire and you stop getting income and you don't contribute anymore, once you make it to a certain age, you take that money and then you buy an annuity with it. You buy the biggest, fattest, longest lasting annuity that you can with it. And however much you manage to save, that's how much you get to annuitize out, and that will be your income for your retirement. It's what the fantasy of Social Security was sold to you as, but it was socialized retirement planning as opposed to free market, private retirement planning. It's not going to last. We can do something about it now, where it's going to hurt, but not hurt as bad, or you could wait until your hand is forced and you have even fewer options. But for the people who are relying on this to maintain their standard of living, those are the people that are going to be making the loudest noise, and rightfully so. There's been a big chunk of people, almost half of people that file for Social Security take it the first chance they get it. They lock it in at age 62 or 63. They turn it on early as soon as they get the paperwork through. Why? Because they don't want to miss any checks. because the government's offering them money. And so, yeah, it's like an 8% discount year to year if I take it before my full retirement age. But people don't think long term. There's a big chunk of people who are shorting themselves because they're not waiting to get to the maximum benefit. But they have now arranged their lifestyle around this money. And you take that away, it's going to hurt. Now, as a politician, if I was running for office, if I was Tommy Tuberville or a guy that was actually in a position of power, I'd be putting up bills that say, hey, we've got to start cutting these benefits. Now, I used to think, well, that's going to get me kicked out of office. There's no way I can win an election with that platform, wanting to get rid of Social Security, wanting to get rid of welfare, wanting to get rid of all these social programs. A lot of votes are bought like that. But here's the truth. Coming up in about, 5-10 years, your benefits are going to be cut anyway. And it's going to be cut in a way that you're not going to be able to control it. And it's only going to get worse as the years go along. And it's going to dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. We have more and more people living longer and longer. They're having fewer kids. So, hey, this Ponzi scheme is the perfect name for it because that's what it is. And the boomers, you're not going to be looked upon very kindly in the record of history for the Social Security thing because you were handed off a whole big chunk of a trust fund. You spent all of that on yourself. You made a whole bunch of contributions. You spent that on yourself. And then you're about to turn around and fund the rest of this with debt on your grandkids. So you're going to spend the resources from the previous generation, your generation, and the following generation on yourself just so you have a comfortable retirement. You think that's moral? You think that's ethical?